Welcome, YouTube, to another channel. This is Rayo and Tech. I hope that everyone is doing well. Let me start the slideshow. This is currently my C-suite presentation assignment. I hope that everyone's doing well. Um, this assignment is for my master's program. Yeah, pretty much talking about like the different fundamentals of cybersecurity. So if you do like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Other than that, let's get into it. First things first, we see that in the terms of cybersecurity, we actually have different types of threat vectors. So, what a threat vector is pretty much a type of threat which could pretty much vector out into a different type of range, which means that there's many different types of vectors which could occur. So, first things first, we start with APT, cyber terrorism, script kiddies, cyber criminals, hacktivists, industrial espionage relating to intellectual property, and insider threats. So let me break this down for you so you can understand what I'm saying. So first things first, we'll start with cyber terrorism. Pretty much in the use of cybersecurity, we notice that we have to make sure we abide to certain laws within cybersecurity. If someone wanted to hack into a national database in order to steal sensitive information, this would be an actual act of cyber terrorism because you're doing this without the authorization of the actual nation. What a script kiddie is known to be is usually for people who start hacking. This is mainly for beginner hackers where they start to execute little codes and scripts which could be used to be used in terms of hacking. It's not too it's not that it's not serious, but it's not as intense as some of the next upcoming ones. So we have cyber criminals. These are known as criminals who have been over the web, who currently participate in illegal activities within the cybersecurity world. And so we can see that this is a big threat to companies, especially if these cyber criminals have noticed that there are 0-day vulnerabilities which have occurred. Next, we have an hacktivist. What a hacktivist is known to be is usually when there is like a political party, hacktivists are known to hack certain political parties in order to have a big influence in terms of like creating a big statement. So it really revolves more around politics. But hacktivists are very scary, especially when it comes to politicians and just the government and certain like areas. Next, we have industrial espionage. Industrial espionage is known for companies which have intellectual property. And so, usually, in terms of this type of threat vector, one would be wanting to take this sensitive information and intellectual property. So, usually, this can occur with someone being an insider threat. And so, an insider threat is usually an inside employee which may have access to certain bits of like sensitive information. Usually, a disgruntled employee, if they're not monitored, could become an insider threat by being able to access different types of information. Let's get to the next topic. So the next topic we have here are the three threat vectors. So I talked about hacktivists, I've talked about cyber terrorism, and I've also talked about espionage. So the reason why hacktivist is number one is that we can see that I believe it might have been in like the elections. If someone was able to hack the actual polls, one could be able to actually swing the votes of a fair, just system to not be fair at all. We can see that this could really mess up politics. This can mess up a lot of regulations, a lot of policies, but more importantly, it makes it unfair for others who are willing to try to have a free chance. Cyber terrorism is very scary, especially when we see that there's different nations who may be at war with each other who want to be able to inflict damage through cyber attacks. By that, they'll be able to like target like major grids, major data centers, to be able to cause as much havoc and damage as possible. This can lead to industrial espionage as well, where we can see that sometimes smaller companies or big companies are targeted within different types of cyber attacks because they want to be able to pretty much, how would I say it? They want to be able to make sure that these factors and like the industry is not the way it should be. So with these different types of attacks coming in, it's definitely scary. Okay, so next things next, we're going to talk about the role of the actual security applied model. The model which I decided to talk about was the Kennedy. I want to make sure I say this right. Krogowski model. Let me go out real quick. Okay. Usually for the Krogowski, I don't know. Let me make sure I say this right. What the Krogowski model is that this is known to be a type of framework which uses like a mixture of cryptography. Pretty much it helps analyze and secure any protocols which may have been actually within any channels. Um, so it has the use of working with like key exchanges where it's like pretty much it helps establish that protocols are able to make sure that connections are secured uh, within a key exchange, even if it's over like an insecure channel of communication. It kind of reminds me of decryption and encryption because being able to use that factor to ensure that like information is secure is very important. So we can definitely see why this is important in terms of cybersecurity. Okay. What are insider threats? So the best way to describe an insider threat is like an insider threat which occurs from the actual organization. I would say sometimes it can include employees, it can include contractors or different types of partners. But the issue is because sensitive data and information is occurring, we can see that a lot of people would want to like misuse it or be able to make sure that they'll use it for purposes which are malicious. So you definitely have to watch out for insider threats. All right, next topic. So we see the problems associated with assumptions. So first things first, the way I think of assumptions is we can never assume anything within security. We have to make sure that we actually have legit logs. We have to make sure there's an actual trail of data in order to determine behavior. Because if one is able to assume that their system is secure, another minute it might show that the system is not secure. So it's definitely very important to work on these type of issues. Another terms of assumption is making sure that assuming that your system will not be hacked. So there's a term in cybersecurity. There's two types of companies: companies who have been hacked and companies who do not know that they've been hacked. And so it's best to not make any assumptions in terms of cybersecurity, and it's best to use these different types of security measures to help secure your data overall. So we see that the problems with favorite techniques and aversion to risks. So I would say the best way to describe, let me see this. I would say one of the best ways to see one of the problems here with cybersecurity is that we see that it feels like sometimes that technology is still advancing. However, the mindset we have is a little old. So the reason for that is sometimes companies will not actually spend money in terms of working on emerging technologies to secure systems. Sometimes they would want to take the shorter way around. it can kind of give like a push and pull factor of where there's a resistance to change. And so it's best just to ensure that this doesn't occur. The different types of bad actors in cyberspace. We see that we can break it down into the categories as I mentioned before, with cyber criminals, hacktivists, and also cyber terrorism as well. So it's definitely very important to work on these topics. In terms of these different types of capabilities, techniques, and motions and aversion to risk, one of the best things which I would recommend is an IPS or an IDS, which is an intrusion prevention system and intrusion detection system. Being able to have these type of technologies and systems to ensure that these scans are used in terms of making sure that there's no any open vulnerabilities is best in terms of having overall security. Lastly, these are the references of what I've used. I was able to pull 3 from the web in terms of breaking down some of the definitions here. But yeah, lastly, pretty much the goals and the capabilities in terms of being able to secure data is we need to make sure that we have a goal of security and safety, because everyone want to make sure that their data is secure, but more importantly, we want to make sure that data is safe. So that's just like a quick little presentation of my work here, of my little research. Thank you guys for tuning into the channel. If you guys like, please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later in the next time. Rayo and Tag out. Have a blessed day. Peace.